So there was a back and forth going on between him and the European French horn specialist, and there was some blueprints taken. There was some measurements taken. There was some French horns played.
This is the thing. Prior to that, they were just known as horns. And then what with this incident, as I described, because the owner of the shop was a native Frenchman, but he considered himself an American nonetheless, having lived here no fewer than 6 or 7 months.
A French account.
And with it,
so that was the European connection I heard.
Yeah, that's the European.
So they said something to me.
He said that the plans went back and forth, and wouldn't you know? They came up with this. They had the plan all settled. Okay, this is what the horn gonna look like. It's gonna be round. Yeah. It's gonna be square. Yeah. It's gonna be tall. It's gonna be short. It's gonna have a big circle around the front of it, and that's gonna be where the sound comes out of, right?
My goodness.
Well, anyway, they come up with this design, and they were about to gonna call it the American horn. The American horn.
Oh my goodness.
The Horn of America was another name they came up with for it, or the Great American Hornswoggle was another name they came up for it. But you know what they ended up doing?
What did not tell me this now?
Well, this Louise Benton character who was running this shop, and who had taken the running Schmittenstein's trombone trading plans, and all of a sudden he said, "Okay, well I'm gonna go take out a newspaper ad recommending to the people's
newspaper
that you buy one of my Great American Hornswoggles." Well, when he told his home countrymen about this, they up and beat him to the punch. And they called it, guess what?
What did they call it?
The French horn.
So that's how we had the modern French horn.
That's how we have it.
And isn't that fascinating? Because there's instrument history everywhere, but none as fascinating as the history of the French horn. No, the history thereof.
If you do not learn from history, I don't remember how the rest of that goes, but if you don't learn from history, history is gonna learn from you. That's what my mom always said.
Well, there's truth in that, to be sure. Now, I want to go back here for a moment and talk about history of Screaming Thunderbolt Jazz Phone. Now, Screaming Thunderbolt Jazz Phone, as we know, absolutely, he's renowned worldwide as a genius. His target demographic, he said one time, was only all of America and then the world, and he hit that target demographic square on with his #1 hits that raged throughout the day. Of course, going on to produce the likes of Big Ass Domino and the Big Ass Dominoes, Connie Woodruff, and later on Connie Woodruff's work with Don Noss, the Shaskanika Shanahis.
He was one of course, many artists, including Mr. Woodruff, to play with the Moonbeam Singers.
Well, that's where he got his first production. Was back then, they just had 78s, so it was 2 songs. It was the Moonbeam Singers, and it was produced by Big Ass Domino. One of the things that happened, though, I'll tell you this much right now, is he came down to go get himself some talcum powder, and he was going to get himself a can of potted meat.
If I recall, this was right outside of Springfield, Missouri, right?
This was Springfield, Missouri, because that's where the Moonbeam Singers are from. Right. And he walked into a general store, and who did he see? That the Moonbeam Singers were singing away. No one had seen this before in their life. That you walk into a store and you have vocal music entertainment, but he was taken, and he was a young man. He was 17 years old, and he heard them, and he didn't sing. He wouldn't grow up musically at all. His parents abandoned him at the age of 4, and he went in there and he heard that, and he said he knew at that instant he knew that what he needed to do. Sure. He needed to figure out a way to make it so that the whole world could hear these voices all over the universe. Sure. And so he became a scientist. He became a mathematician. He became a musician. He became a musician's friend.
He had the will. He had the yearning, the urge.
We're talking about Big Ass Dominoes.
And he made that urge come true to him.
Big Ass Dominoes hit it. And he knew how to hit it constantly and consistently. It's like the boy was born in Constantinople or something. And of course he was constantly surrounded with constancy because he was moving so much and there was so much activity going on around him.
It was relentless.
It was a vortex of magical energy.
It was relentless. The only word for it was relentless.
Big Ass Dominoes.
That man is a genius.
If only he was real.
He real as
That's tarnation.
real as time itself. Just because he ain't alive no more, don't mean he ain't real.
Oh, you believe he's actually dead?
Well, I mean, I have my doubts, but
You saw the footage.
I'm going to give.
You saw the footage.
I'm going to give the news stories, the common knowledge. I'm going to give the government man. I'm going to go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. Say, okay, you say he's dead. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he ain't dead. I don't know. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say my last respects. I'm going to pay my RIPs. I'm going to say
There's no way that boy is
respects.
dead. When you see him, when you see the footage of him taped onto the nuclear missile and taped on really good duct tape, and it's going down, it's about to hit the moon. Right? But if you look, there's a few different satellite photos, and one of them, if we slow it down, and this is something that you have to see, it appears as though there's an ejection from the warhead, and what looks like a parachute and big ass dominoes coming down to the moon's surface.
Well, sure. I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen the footage.
Skeptics say that it was a nuclear warhead, and it doesn't matter. You're not going to project yourself far enough away from the blast zone to live, especially on the moon, particularly if you're not wearing a moon suit or something. But there's another school of thought that indicates the big ass dominoes, being the person that he was, and being the entity that he was, and the knowledgeable person that he was. Well, if he knew so much about this, then he must have understood that this was happening to him, because his life got so complicated at the end that it's kind of hard to say.
I know, but this is the question.
I believe that his skin became a moon suit, that he ejected to the other side of the moon,
sir,
that he built himself a campfire, and he lives there to this day.
I am not trying to tell you that he is not a man who could do that. He is, sure. However, this is the question I have. And this is the question
I'm upset with the man who duct taped him to a nuclear warhead headed for the moon.
That's what it boils down to. You see, this is the argument that I've heard, and I think is sometimes convincing. If he is a man who knew ahead of time, he knew he was getting hog-tied. He knew it was getting duct taped. He knew where that missile was going, right?
He did. He had to.
The only explanation.
Well, the man was tortured.
The only explanation is this: he wanted to go that way, because otherwise he wouldn't have been there.
If by that way you mean take to a nuclear warhead, sent to the moon, and then ejected out last second and parachuting down to live on the moon for the rest of your life, then that's the way he went.
No one wants to live on the moon. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's what I'm trying to get at.
We're talking big ass dominoes.
I think big ass dominoes. I think that man had said to himself and to his fans, to his wife and his children and everyone, said, I have lived a full life, and I have tired of these mortal grounds.
If he has it, now
it's time for me to go. Time for me to meet my Lord, my Maker.
Oh, well, you can go on believe that. You won't believe that, and I'll say, okay, you can believe that. You won't believe that, but you're doing yourself a disservice because he parachuted off.
Well, I mean, maybe it was the Lord setting loose the parachute of his soul that we saw there. Maybe that's what that footage was. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe it wasn't.
Well, but maybe it was. We don't know. We don't know for sure.
Well, I'm going on an exploratory mission. 7 years here.
My AMB vest went up there not 3-4 years back.
Looking for big ass dominoes.
Well, that's right.
Sure, did she find this cave?
Well, she found some curious evidence of human habitation. There's no doubt about that. However, she claimed that there was no indication whatsoever that it was big ass dominoes who had been living there. So all I can say is, to me, that don't mean anything. That don't mean nothing at all, right?
Well, I suppose so.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it could be moon men.
Moon men, come on now, moon men.
It could be moon men. It could be South American.
Come on now, South American men.
Could be Europeans.
Now, man, European men. Come on now, man.
Could be.
It could not be
Well, it could
for
be.
the following reason.
What reason?
He was on the moon.
It could be dogs. Could be dogs.
Now that I could believe a pack of wild dogs.
Yeah, it could be a pack of wild dogs up there.
Maybe a pack of wild dogs that we've never discovered this type of dog.
Well, let
before.
me ask you, how many dogs have we sent to the moon on nuclear weapons? Hundreds.
Hundreds of thousands, I'd say at this point.
Yeah,
there goes one right now.
And every one of them was equipped with a parachute. Yeah, just as was screaming jazz phone. What's his name?
Screaming Thunderbolt.
Right.
Jazz phone.
Jazz phone. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, naturally, all of them was equipped with the parachutes. So I mean,
of course.
The dog could have pulled the eject me from the missile button or whatever.
Of course. But not only that, but after so many years, you're going to become immune to a nuclear blast.
Well, sure. I mean, ever since we decided to stop. But putting animals to sleep was too boring in the conventional way. Mm-hmm. We decided that I don't know who made this decision. We're gonna shoot them at the moon on nuclear weapons.
Right. And of course, evolution tells us that if you subject a species to enough of a harmful condition, well, they're going to learn to adapt to that condition, even if that condition is a nuclear blast.
Especially because the radiation causes those necessary adaptive mutations in the genetic structure.
Now, of course, carbon-based life is not one of the variants. I'm going to talk an extreme variant here.
Well, yeah, okay, sure, but
these dogs almost exist in other dimensions.
Well, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dogs, right?
They fly into and out of the sun.
They're sun dogs, sure.
Of course, they're sun dogs.
Of course they are.
That's what we started talking about anyway. Oh, good stuff.
That's funny shit. Of course. Of course they're sun dogs.